Guys, J-Man here back again, coming to another video on The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 10, The Next World. So, we inevitably see the progression of what seems to be a larger world from the story arc, and we run into some new characters, which I'll get into in a second, but this is a time jump 2 months ahead from the last events of No Way Out, and we see Rick is up and going again, and Carl is up and around. He's coping with the idea that he's lost his eye. I mean, he's got that same patch he has in the comics, which is kind of funny. They emulate it so close. So we see some subplots with Spencer trying to find his dead mother to sort of put her out of her misery. And we've seen this before throughout the Walking Dead series, so that was an interesting subplot going on with them trying to find it, and Carl inevitably running into Deandra, and Spencer ending his mother's life, putting her out of her misery, mercy killing. So that was cool. We see a buddy cop episode as well between Rick and Daryl, and it's funny because there's some, tongue-in-cheek kind of humorous moments between them because Rick's putting on music and Daryl's like, oh, no. And it's just kind of like this redneck southern music that you would expect from Rick, his character. It was pretty funny and gleeful. Throughout the episode, Rick and Daryl find a food truck and they drive it back to a gas station because they're trying to find soda for Denise because after her hard work and fellowship of saving his son's life, the only option is just, benefiting towards that. So while they're trying to crack the thing open, this man runs up, pushes Rick, backs up. They got their guns pointed towards Jesus, who is Paul Monroe, but they changed the last name in the show for some odd reason. It's Deandolf or something like that. Some odd last name. I don't know the reasoning behind it. But yeah, inevitably what happens is the events that transcribe in the show are much different than they do in the comics. What happens is that when he bumped into Rick, he took his keys inconspicuously, discreetly, without Rick knowing, obviously. And as Jesus leaves, he runs off. There are some gunshots going out around the back of the like the 7-Eleven, and they go around and they see it's fireworks just cracking. So he set up this own deceptive plan against Rick and Daryl, and as they run back, the truck is being driven off by Jesus. So they end up chasing it down for a while, and they find that the vending machine that it was dragging back inevitably got cut loose, and they drank some soda and some beverages. It was pretty funny. And then they ran, and they found where he stopped his truck, and he's opening the back. There was some nice choreography between Rick fighting Jesus. Jesus kicks his ass, obviously, because he knows martial arts and karate and all that jazz, which is cool to see because like Rick had him in like a lock in the neck, and he's just like, you got me. And then he just like whoops his ass because he knows martial arts and all that shit. But they inevitably get him down. Like Rick tackles him. They point their guns at him. And one of the lines I love that Jesus says is like, do you even have any bullets in that gun? And then they just shoot a walker. And they're like, you want to test that? So he inevitably gives back the keys to Rick, and they drive off. But he's on the hood of the truck that they're driving, the food truck. And Rick's like, hold on just a second. Pulls the brakes. He flies over the hood of the truck. Such a funny moment. And then they kind of play this cat and mouse type episode type moment where it's just like kind of like Benny Hill. It's like Daryl's chasing Jesus, trying to get him down. Rick pulls the truck over, and he gets out, closes the door. He's gonna go kill some walkers, and what's his name? Jesus comes around, and he gets around. He opens the truck and gets in it. Daryl grabs him, and he's trying to get him out. There's a walker sneaking up behind Daryl, and Jesus tells him to duck, and he gets a gun and kills the walker. So he's just trying to demonstrate his loyalty, that he wants a partnership, because inevitably we will see Hilltop eventually. I believe in the next episode. It's got to be the next episode, or if not the next episode, it's probably going to be the subsequent episode after that. So, while they're fighting, um, they fall out of the truck and they hit one of the reverse switch. They put it in reverse accidentally, and the truck drives all the way back into the river, and they lose all the food. And Jesus is unconscious because he got knocked out in the fight between Daryl. He knocked his head against the door as the door was open while the truck was backing into the lake. So at the end of the episode, they get back to Alexandria. They bring Jesus, Paul Monroe, and they check up on him because he's knocked out unconscious. And something very interesting and unsuspecting happens. Probably one of the more unsuspecting things that you wouldn't expect. But in this moment, Michonne and Rick are having this nice, mundane moment that they've never experienced before because everything's just been so action-packed. Every episode's been so eventful, so they never really had some downtime to talk intimate. So they never really start holding hands, and yeah, they engage, they consummate, and it's pretty awesome. Roshone is happening, so fans are going crazy about this. I think it's pretty awesome. By the end of the episode, the final moments of the episode, we see Rick and Michonne laying in bed, buck-ass naked, and Jesus is in the room, and he's like, Rick, I need to tell you something. And Rick gets up, and Michonne gets up, both buck-ass naked, and they point their weapons at him. He's just like, hey. And that's how the episode ends. So, pretty interesting episode. We've seen moments like that happen with Andrea and Rick in the comics as well, where they're just buck-ass naked on the bed. So it's pretty funny. Love this episode. Eventful as always. Got to see Jesus, which is a great character and introduction character to Hilltop. So great that we're seeing the community is expanding. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section below because I'm excited.